Speaking of answers, so I've been telling you I got a new ride here as far as the helicopters that I'm flying. I got the Cabri G2. And so the other day I was flying it again, and, I got the hang of it, because I was telling you the main rotor turns the opposite way, so it changes your pedal inputs, right? So I got that down to the point, I got it down good enough, I should say, that we tried to do some auto rotations, which is you simulate engine failure, yada, yada, yada. And I have to tell you something. The only way for me to describe what it's like to do an auto rotation in the Cabri G2 after coming from a Robinson R22 is, do you remember in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when those guys took the parking attendants took the Ferrari out? And remember when they went over the hill and they were smiling? That's what it was like. Because the R22, which I fucking love that helicopter, by the way. I love that helicopter because if you can hover in that thing, if you can fly that thing, if you can do auto rotations in that thing, it's only going to get easier from what I've heard from other pilots. Because, I'm fucking a weekend warrior. But I will tell you, that was my experience going to the Cabri G2. It was fucking amazing. Okay? The way that you just lock in, I felt like I was coming down and I was floating on a cloud versus the 22 where I had to be like 10 knots faster and I was dropping like a fucking stone. I now have a 3-bladed, fully articulated main rotor system as opposed to a 2-bladed, semi-articulated, whatever the fuck you call it. And I had finally gotten those fucking things down in the 22. And now all my pedal inputs were different. Collective down. Now it's left pedal instead of right pedal. But what I love is I always felt like in the R22, there was like a sliver of RPMs that you could play with, where before you were too low and the low RPM horn would come on, and then you'd go to correct it, and then it would fucking start to overspeed, and it really took a high level of skill. Or, if you fly as not often as I do, it took a long time for me to and I've done a million of those things. And I was really starting to feel it in the 22, and you start to feel the RPMs coming up, and you almost don't even have to look at the gauge. You can just hear it. And, I was catching them coming up, and I really had it all the way down. My flare was nice, I kept fucking up the flare where I'd pull the stick too far back and you would balloon up, and then you're going to lose all your inertia in your main rotor blade, and then you're going to slam down on the ground, probably blow out your skids and fuck up your back, right? Which, who wants to do that, right? So I was finally getting that down. So anyways, I did like 5 of them, and it was so much easier, and it was so much slower, I felt, in the 22 that, like, within 4 auto rotations, we moved on to the more advanced shit that I was doing with the 22, which is basically, rather than picking out a spot, when you first learn them, you're looking out and you're looking at a spot that you're going to glide down to. We started doing the shit where, towards the end, where you're over your spot. So you just let the thing drop, you bleed off all your forward airspeed and you just let it drop. And then, you've lost all your forward airspeed, which you're going to have to recover. And you had to judge it when you'd nose it back down, and you're almost like backing up to get to the spot. Then you nose it over, regain your airspeed, and then do your flare. So it took me forever to get that level in the 22. I did 5 auto rotations, and my instructor was going, all right, let's try it like over the spot. So I'm thinking in my head, like, well, we're already moving on to advanced auto rotation. This is fucking cool as hell. So, very, 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 very excited. And I'm not coming down on Robinsons because they're fucking great helicopters. And every time I see an R22, anytime I look in the cockpit, I just smile. I've had so many great times in that fucking thing. But I think most people in aviation, you start out and then, they're the low end things, and then you move on to something else. I couldn't be more fucking thrilled with this thing. So any pilots out there considering, what you want to buy, definitely, or what you want to, I don't know. I think you got to buy those things. I just lucked out with, there's a deal here with the people I rent from got one. But like, if you're thinking about buying one, I mean, this is like free advertising. I cannot fucking tell you. Like, I love this helicopter so much. I'm trying to find merch on the internet, but then I'm like, am I going to be that dork who shows up like, this is my hat because this is the helicopter I fly? You know, like they're sponsoring me with my 250 hours. But it was so fucking. It just made my goddamn week. I am in love with that helicopter. I still love the Robinsons and all that shit, so I'm not trying to cause any bullshit here. I'm just being honest. I love those helicopters, and now I'm flying this one, and I love this one even more, and it's just fucking amazing. And it's great that it's out there because I think it's going to make the Robinsons even better. So there you go. That's the podcast. Sorry for the nerding out with the helicopter shit there in the end.